The following is an Encore Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit interview. Warning: although we make our best efforts to provide the latest information, due to the ever-changing nature of the digital marketing industry, some information in this interview may be subject to change. Are you spending your time in the right places, or are you stuck doing $10 per hour tasks when you should be focusing on $1,000 per hour activities? What if the marketing message you love most is actually repelling your ideal customers? Why did 4 out of 5 Facebook ad tests show that the ugliest image got the best results? Why do most entrepreneurs waste 2 to 4 years learning things the hard way when they could get guidance from experts who've already made those mistakes? Stay tuned while we explore the answers to these questions and more in one of my favorite Encore episodes of Flip Your Marketing Flops. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr. Welcome to Flip Your Marketing Flops, the digital marketing and lead generation podcast. Welcome to Flip Your Marketing Flops, the podcast, providing weekly episodes of presentations, interviews, and conversations with marketing professionals and industry experts discussing common marketing mistakes and how to prevent them. If you're an entrepreneur, local service-based business owner, small business marketer, or a new digital marketing professional, and you don't normally have access to insider marketing knowledge, then this podcast is for you. My purpose is to teach you the hacks, tips, and secrets that will prevent common marketing mistakes, saving you both time and money. Today's Flip Your Marketing Flops episode is number 23, and this is part 2. The second half of the interview I did for the Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit back in early 2021 when I interviewed marketing strategist Nicki Chang-Powless. Last week in episode 22, I shared part 1 where Nicki begins explaining 5 marketing strategy mistakes that she sees her clients making. In today's episode, she finishes going through her list. The highlights of the second half of this interview include when Nicki reveals that most entrepreneurs make the same critical mistake. The conversation covers real-world examples, including clients who discovered their favorite marketing messages were actually repelling their customers, and Facebook ad tests where the ugliest image performed best. So stay tuned and learn about these mistakes and more in this 23rd episode of the Flip Your Marketing Flops podcast.
Most entrepreneurs do not have 4 years to get a business degree, an extra 2 years to get an MBA. They don't have time to learn. They can't afford to learn things the hard way.
Right.
So it's bringing in the resources that can help guide them. Now, we guide them not only in terms of the marketing message, but one of the other keys is to really develop strategies and systems. And systems. I mean, you help them with the marketing system in terms of, what a lot of the digital systems in place, but we also help them with the systems in the back end, is identifying where are they spending their time. Are they spending their time in the right places, and are they effective in their use of the time? So there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes when you have a business. Just to give you an example is if you're diabetic, you need to constantly monitor your blood sugar levels, right?
For sure.
And you're monitoring your blood sugar levels. And if your blood sugar levels change, you know exactly what you need to do the next day to readjust things, right? It's the same thing with business. And this is probably one of the other most common mistakes that business owners make, is they're not tracking what they're doing. Because if we track what we're doing, and if things start going off on a tangent, you're able to make the changes quickly, and readjust the course so you're back on course. The most common thing that I see among business owners is they don't have a clue whether they're making money in their business or not. They take their receipts at the end of the year, they give it to the accountant, And then a month or so later, the accountant says, congratulations, you made this much money this year.
That's so true.
Or congratulations, you don't have to pay taxes because you didn't make money.
Right.
But the thing is if you're only waiting once a year to find those numbers, then you're not able to course correct when you really need it.
Yep.
And that's why it's really important to be able to monitor your progress to stay on track. And I also know that a lot of business owners, they don't know how to track the stuff. And this is why this is one of the most important areas in terms of building systems.
Yep.
So you can get consistent results, and to avoid going off on the tangent that you can't afford to take,
right.
is we help them through that process.
Right.
Is how to build these systems. We make it really easy for you. I had one of my clients that literally wanted me to train her assistant to do this until she looked, because she thought this was going to be really difficult. And she says, holy crap, I understand this. Right. And I said, yeah, we make it really easy for you to be able to understand it.
Yep.
And because we also know that, a lot of people didn't like math in school.
Yep.
I have a lot of them telling me, I hate numbers. I hate math. Never understood it. And they've got that block. Well, you know what and they feel like they're ashamed because they don't know the stuff.
Yep.
And what I like to describe it to them, I'll say, I don't speak Italian. Does that mean I should be ashamed? And I said, no, it's because nobody's ever taken the time to show me.
Yeah.
I've had business owners who have been in business for over 20 years, and we're building their systems. We're looking at their numbers, and all of a sudden they look at me. This is like they've been in business for 20 years, and they've said, Nicki, how come nobody has ever showed this to me before?
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, it's because they don't know what to ask.
Yep. They don't know what they don't know. Yep.
Exactly. And we help them through that process.
You're right. That reminds me of, and I don't know, I had this conversation recently, but it reminds me of, first of all, my first sales position that I was in out there. They just told me, go speak to as many people as you can. I was kind of a person who likes to see the big picture. So if they would have told me, target this many per day or target that many per day, would have been easier. I relate it to my background in martial arts. I had always been told, in my background in sports, as a basketball player, I was told, go shoot 1,000 shots a day. I never saw anybody do it, so I would shoot 500. I remember that. And I was a decent shooter because I used to do that. But 1,000 shots, I thought, okay, by myself, who's going to go shag the ball? It took forever. So then in the business world, they say, go, speak to as many people as you can. And in martial arts, my instructor would say, go do 1,000 kicks a day. He was the first person I ever saw as a 45-year-old man. He was out there doing 1,000 kicks a day. So then I started doing 1,000 kicks a day, which helped me progress in my martial arts. The point being that I had a number in my head, and I targeted at that age and went and did that number. When in sales, people say, go out there and, just try to reach as many people as you can. The problem is that for a lot of people, they need to be able to see the process and make it clear. So if you start, and I'm sure you do this, if you start with, this is what you want to accomplish, it's easier to back into all the way down into, well, you need to do this many contacts a day because you're going to convert this many, which means you're going to do that. So when you're teaching, when you're working with business owners about their numbers, it helps them really to understand they need people doing certain amounts of things. And if they're not hitting that mark, they know they can adjust it by hitting that mark. So I really, personally, as a numbers guy and an estimator, I really believe that numbers are really key, and they're simple to understand if somebody teaches you how.
I'm gonna shift that slightly. It's not about hitting that number. Like, that number is only one component.
Of course.
It's a matter of getting quality.
Of course.
Instead of quantity. So normally when I've got my clients, is I'll say, here, test it out on this, test it out on this group and see if it's going to work. And if it's not working, let's come back, let's adjust it, fine tune and tweak it, and let's go to do the next batch.
Yeah.
So instead of, it's like constantly monitoring.
Yes.
how well and how effective it's working.
Absolutely.
You do this in Facebook ads.
I was just going to say, I just had this example in Facebook ads just a couple of weeks ago. It was about target audience, and it's not always about the messaging. It's once you get the target audience right, you'll know it'll line up really quickly, and the message doesn't even have to be as perfect if you have the right audience.
And you know, I've over the last couple of months, I've had 4 different people come up to me, and they did Facebook ads, and they did testing on the image.
Yep.
Right? They did Facebook ad testing, and they had multiple images, you know, same message, right? Same audience, nothing else. The only thing different was the image.
Right.
It was funny because these 4 people came back and said the image that had the best results was the image that they had least expected and was their least favorite. It was the ugliest image, yet it had the most conversion.
Isn't that funny?
So you never know what is going to appeal to your audience.
Right.
One of my clients, she was trying to figure out a title for her program, and she put it out there as a poll, and they all came back. She said to me, she says, Nicki, they all picked the one title that she hated. It was the one that she really did not resonate with her. She says, I like this title. And I looked at her and I said, are you selling this program to yourself?
Right.
And she said, okay, I get your point. So your opinion sometimes doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's what your target audience, what resonates with them.
Yep.
That makes the most difference.
And you
definitely was really upset.
it.
She was upset. She liked this other title. And I said, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It has to go be the other one.
And that's, you know, when I've worked with people, I've, especially with, you know, people that are proofreading things or things like that. So I'm not married to anything. I test things. So don't worry about if you don't like this or if you see, you know, whatever changes. And people need to be a little bit more like that, I think, in their advertising, because it all comes down to what's in it for them. You know, what's in it. It's not about what's in it for me. It's about what's in it for my audience. And as long as they, you know, we identify what's in it for them, what resonates with them, then that's the key, because then they're going to do the things that we are hoping that they would do, that we can help them with. So
absolutely. And you know what, Joe, as a small business owner, I don't have time to be going off on a tangent and going off too far.
Absolutely. And that's why you systematize it.
Exactly. That's why we work with our clients to say what's working, what's not, but it's also going back to the basics.
Yep.
And, sometimes we do have to go back to the blank piece of paper if things aren't working out.
Right.
I literally had one client test the market, and she said, this is what I want to build. And I said, okay, we're going to test the market. And she attended a convention with hundreds of her target market. And I said, I want you to ask these people these 3 questions. And so she went and she asked the questions, and she picked up the phone when she came back from the convention. She says, Nicki, they don't want to pay for what I want to offer.
Right.
And she was really upset. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? It's better to find out now than it is after devoting 2 years of your life to this one service that people don't want to pay for.
Right, for sure. Well, Nicki, we're coming up close to the time frame here, so I kind of wanted to recap some of the things and make sure that I heard them right, and the audience, focuses on what you had to say. I know that I wrote down that there's 3 big things that are basically ways that if you're on a shoestring budget, you can make sure if you align these things up, it's going to strengthen and make your business better. First being your marketing messaging. The second being having your strategy and creating a strategy. And the third is having a system. So with that being said, what are some of the other things you have that'll help people implement these things?
I do have webinar and master classes that are coming up, and we go into a lot more detail than what we had talked about today, because there's a lot of different components to look at. So we delve into that a lot deeper, and I have some webinars and master classes coming up towards the end of the month. We also know that everybody's situation is different.
Right. Well, is there any question that I missed today, that's something that you think I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Uh, we covered a lot today. Oh yes. One thing you didn't ask is, one of the last keys to success is really about having a team. Because as an entrepreneur, we cannot do everything. It is not a reasonable expectation to do everything.
Right.
Sure, I can learn how to do digital marketing, but my time is best spent on talking to clients and doing that one-on-one and in the sales process. And we should let experts like yourself in the digital marketing, or, whether we're doing Facebook ads, SEO, or, landing pages or whatever, let the experts do that portion.
Yep.
And you should be focusing on really driving your business and guiding your business.
Yep.
There's too many people out there who say, oh, you know what? It's cheaper for me to do it myself. It's not, because it's costing you clients.
They do it wrong, and it's costing them opportunities, clients, and money. Yep.
Yeah, it's not just, the people like yourself, but it's also people like myself helping them build that strategies. We've gone through a lot of the mistakes before.
Yep.
So why learn them on your own when you can
Why reinvent the wheel?
Work with somebody else that can help you with that.
Yep.
Large organizations have board of directors.
Yep.
And if you look at the board of directors that large organizations have, they're typically not within the company, and sometimes not even in the same industry. And the reason for that is because they're able to show you a different perspective outside of your business that you cannot see. They're giving you a different perspective.
Right. Well, the one thing that I know, because we're also talking about on a shoestring budget, I would add to this, because I 100% believe this. And the thing is, to do this on a shoestring budget, it'll be very helpful to have a strategy in place and to understand what you need to happen in your strategy and in your system, so that you know when is the right time to bring in team members to help you get it done. Because that is, some people try to go at this without any understanding of everything, and I think that costs them more money just the same. So to me, it's important for them to have a basic understanding of what to do, what not to do. They don't have to be able to know how to do it all, but if they don't know how to do it all, that's where they have their team members that they can reach out to. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And you know what? They might think I'm saving money, but they're actually losing money in the long run. Because now they can focus on what they do best and the reason why they started the business in the first place.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's not to learn IT.
Right. I call myself a lead generation funnel efficiency coach and strategist. Why? Because this is some of the things that makes you more efficient, is understanding when to go get help, when you can do it yourself, when to make decisions. And so that's the key component of that. Well,
and it's the same thing with me too. As a business strategist, it's understanding what is in the back end and how do you build that foundation that allows you to scale and grow your business.
Right.
So it's bringing everything together. So guess what? So you could be sitting on a beach and having your business run on its own and bringing in money. Who doesn't want that, right?
You're teasing me.
But that's the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. And when I'm there, the background for this interview will be beach sea, and it'll be blowing palm trees, and I'll be kicking back in a thing in a hammock, and that's what everybody wants.
And it won't be virtual, right?
It won't be virtual at all. So, well, Nicki, this is going to conclude today's interview. I really appreciate the time in the interview with you. I think this was an awesome interview, and I love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you too. A lot of what we do just nicely aligns together. And that's what I love about working with you.
Same here. Well, today's guest has been Nicki Chang-Powless, and you can catch up with Nicki at www.ncpconsulting.net. Again, www.ncpconsulting.net, or on her Facebook page at Nicki.Chang-Powless. And also on Twitter at Nicki Chang POW. Again, thank you very much, Nicki, and I'm going to conclude the interview here. Thank you for watching episode number 23, part 2 of the Encore interview about marketing strategy mistakes with guest speaker Nicki Chang-Powless. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr., and this has been the Flip Your Marketing Flops podcast. Flip Your Marketing Flops is the digital marketing and lead generation podcast where you can listen in on the latest digital marketing and lead generation trends and tips through conversations with marketing professionals. We're helping service businesses and entrepreneurs produce better marketing results. Tune into our latest episode on your favorite listening platform. Get involved with the show. There are many ways to do so. You can email me here at the show. Just use joe@flipyourmarketingflops.com. If you enjoy the content on this channel, let me know. If you have a digital marketing topic you would like to know more about, tell me about it. And if there is someone you think I should have on the show, just give me their name. You are crucial to the success of this show, just as I want to be helpful in the success of your business, and I want to give you information you want to know about. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and comment below. For more information, visit flipyourmarketingflops.com. Remember, every marketing flop is just a lesson waiting to be flipped.